Hello there, and welcome to this episode of Mindset Mentoring for Athletes, Families, and Entrepreneurs. I'm your host, Coach Chuck. And this show is about examining how mindset shapes performance, resilience, and well-being, especially when under pressure. Every conversation explores the internal systems people rely on when things become uncertain, demanding, or unstable, and how intentional mindset practices allow individuals to lead, perform, and live with greater clarity and sustainability. So stay tuned for today's conversation. Parents today are carrying a weight that most generations never even had to name. Anxiety is rising, depression is rising, and teen suicide is now one of the leading causes of death amongst young people. And here's what really gets said out loud. Parents, you struggle too. You're trying to lead your family in a world that's changed faster than anyone prepares you for, and you love your kids deeply, yet sometimes wonder if what worked for you is enough for them. I'm Coach Chuck Barnhart, and I spent nearly 40 years as an educator and mindset mentor, and I've watched this shift up close. I've also lived it as a father of 4 children. My son Billy and I are launching a family mentorship because transformation doesn't happen in isolation. Teens don't need fixing. Families need leadership, language, and tools that bring them back together. This mentorship is designed for parents and teens walking the journey together, guided by experience, faith, and practical mindset training. And if you're part of the senior generation, a grandparent, a mentor, coach, or trusted voice, I want to ask something of you. Please consider sharing this with the families you know. Sometimes the invitation carries more weight when it comes from someone they trust. And somewhere out there is a family that needs to hear the message. This isn't for everyone, but for the right families, it changes everything. You can learn more by going to thechampionsmindsetmentorship.com. Welcome back. Our guest today is Jad Atwe, an entrepreneur, business coach, and the author of Resilient in Business. He works with founders navigating the pressure, chaos, and constant change that come with running a business, helping them move from the reactive survival mode to intentional, sustainable leadership. After navigating his own seasons of uncertainty in entrepreneurship, Jad became committed to understanding what it takes to both psychologically and operationally weather volatility and emerge stronger on the other side. Through his work, he guides business owners in building a personal operating system that allows them to grow without burning out or losing themselves in the process. With a background in engineering, contracting, and real estate development, Jad brings structure, operational clarity, and grounded leadership to founders seeking resilience and long-term success. Let's welcome Jad Atwe to the show. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for the invite, Chuck.
It's a pleasure to have you here and give you a chance to kind of share what you do and your story and your words of wisdom about mindset and entrepreneurship. So I always like to have my guests kind of just at least give a little bit of background on who you are and kind of a little bit about your upbringing, just something we can kind of ground ourselves in as we proceed with our conversation.
Yeah, absolutely. So my background is, as you mentioned, engineering. I started as a civil engineer, passionate about it. I went ahead and did a master's as well. And but for me, working as an engineer is boring. I wanted to be in construction. I wanted to see things come together. So I went on after a few years of being in working in engineering to become a general contractor. Um, so basically, we were doing major renovations, additions, new home builds as well. And I did some real estate development. So I was building homes and selling. Uh, that's my background basically. I transitioned from engineer to uh, to the construction industry.
So let me ask you what an engineering background and entrepreneurship are not necessarily kind of interconnected. I mean, they obviously can be, but there's a definite mindset about entrepreneurship that, some people are just frightened about the idea of even taking any sort of risk at all, so they would never even consider it. Other people kind of just they don't want to work for anybody else, but they don't necessarily really think about everything that it takes to be an entrepreneur. Where did this kind of entrepreneurship come from for you? Did you just kind of fall into it? Was it something that you had always thought about, kind of in the back of your mind? You want to share that a
It's
little bit?
it's absolutely it's a very good point that you brought up there because school doesn't teach you anything about business. Like this is what I realized. Uh, it teaches you the technical background. So you go there, you learn engineering, you learn the technical aspect of it, but you don't really learn how to lead and manage a business. So that was an interesting process where you just have to get in the arena and figure it out. But to speak to the entrepreneurship, I've always been, uh, I think it's part of my personality. I a little bit have ADHD. I like to solve problems. I don't like to be confined by a certain corporate structure. I've never fit in actually in the corporate world. I was always like working there, but an outsider. I don't like the politics that happens in companies in order for people whatever climb up the ladder, or it's just not never been my thing. I've always wanted to uh, do my own thing. Watching my father was also an architect and he had his own general contracting firm. So that's what I watched growing up, the construction industry. On the weekends, it's going with him from one side to another, uh, seeing how he's running his projects, how he's running his business. So that's the and when you grow up with that, it's like especially for me, and having a certain type of personality where you just want to uh, prove yourself, stand out, build something for yourself, achieve freedom. All of those contributed to the fact that for me, entrepreneurship is the only path, and it's very important to make it successful in this path because there's no other way of for me living, I guess.
Yeah, no, it certainly is. I think the best way for sure. Now you just said that you grew up in a family, so your dad was an
Correct.
entrepreneur, contractor, and all. Were you, as a young person, aware of the stresses that come with entrepreneurship? Were you able to kind of learn some lessons from your dad watching all that?
Yes.
Because it can be awfully challenging, as you well know.
Absolutely, and I've seen it throughout the years. Like he had, it's in business, it's seasons. You have seasons where it's great, amazing, and then you have cycles where it's not. So watching him, I mean, he had few good runs, and then all of a sudden the market would be tight, and it's not as good as it used to be. So yeah, absolutely. I've growing up, I've seen it many times where just from what's happening around him, what's happening with him, that it's the good and the bad. Absolutely, yes. And with that, you understand this is a very important point that people have to grasp. Not many do, that it's not all flashy, it's not all glamorous as the social media likes to present it. Like you go on LinkedIn and you think that everyone's successful, everyone's doing great, and then you feel bad that maybe your business is not. But that's not the case for everyone. It's just a fake. Social media is a fake facade to what's actually happening. What's actually happening is that we business being in business, you go through phases and you're subject to uncertainty, you're subject to the chaos that comes with business. One day there is tariffs, the other day there is Corona, the other day you're dealing with the chaos that's in your team. The, the next day you're dealing with chaos that comes with the client. So it's really you're juggling. It's a huge juggle that you have to manage there, and having this mindset, understanding that it's not easy, it's tough, and I guess you can expect the expect it to be tough, and if you have a good day, then that's amazing. That's the approach, I guess, that I come to it.
You know, that that belief set that is in what I would refer to as the entrepreneurial mindset, because
Yeah.
there's mindsets for different contexts of people's lives and all. And in education, we heard a lot about growth mindset, which can filter into others, but there is an entrepreneurial mindset, and there's some key beliefs that it seems like everybody who is in business for themselves and are successful at it and do it for long periods of time. And one of those is just it's part of what you just alluded to. It's this idea that there's going to be challenges, there's going to be problems, but that doesn't mean it's the end of the world. And somehow there's just this, you don't let it get to you, right? Yeah, stress could get to us, but do you want to talk about where for you that came from? Was it from watching your dad, or was it something deeper? Um, and in the work you do now, I guess I'm giving you several questions here, but in the work you do now, is that something that you see missing from some entrepreneurs that you need to empower them with?
Yeah, it's all about perspective and understanding what the journey is actually about. And that's what makes a difference between those that are successful in the long term or those that come across challenges and then they get derailed and then they call it a day. So it's absolutely important to understand the nature of the game, what's involved, the magnitude of the things that you're dealing with, and equip yourself with the right tools, with the right perspective, with the right attitude, with the growth mindset that you talked about, in order to be able to navigate this chaos that you're dealing with, and actually uh, take the lessons and understand and build on those lessons in the future. So something bad happens, a struggle happens, motivation in this case does not work. Like you can tell people, you go again, you go on social media and you see that uh, all of those posts, keep working harder, put in more hours, struggle, push through, you have to lock in, work harder. But that's great, that helps in an emotional spike. It helps you, it gets you motivated for a while. But if someone's having a tough time in their business and they come across something like that, the rhetoric that comes across in their mind, it's like screw you kind of thing to the guru that's telling them work harder, because they've been working harder and it's not working. So in times of challenges, in times of when things are not going as you expected, when you are actually putting in the work and you're not seeing the results, it's important to step back a little bit, acknowledge what's happening, realize that eh, the situation is not good, acknowledge that it's terrible, and try to identify what are the lessons that we can learn from this situation in order to be able to navigate what's going on and get out of it. That's the approach. That's the mindset that I use and I teach my the founders that I work with in order to navigate whatever chaos they're handling.
Yeah, it's interesting. I've got two high school friends, college fraternity brothers. We went to high school together, went to college together. Both are entrepreneurs. One of them was a scientist, and like he's now the actually CEO of a new drug company. So I mean, he's major, like big corporate kind of stuff. While the other one was he was a manager for a silk screening company. That's kind of what he had gone to school for and learned to do. He had an opportunity to buy him, and he's buy out the company that he originally worked for, and he's been doing that for most of his life. Two vastly different businesses in scope,
Yes.
two vastly different in um, even the objectives that each of, of them had for what they wanted to achieve or accomplish. But the problems, when you break down to it, aren't always that vastly different, right? There's the a problem arises and you need to somehow solve it and fix it, get on top of it. And that is a lot more than just a skill set, right? And you talk about this idea of getting stuck in survival mode, reactive survival mode. Whether, regardless of the scale, what is to you some of the keys in being able to get beyond that and get unstuck so you aren't operating from that survival mode?
Yes. Yeah, thank you for this question. Just to back up a little bit, I think we didn't. Uh, so the idea of everything that I'm doing basically came from personal struggle. So I told you I was in the construction industry, a general contractor. We were building homes and selling, but and with that business, when things are good, I mean, you make money, amazing. But when the market goes the other way, I found myself in a juggling set of challenges that came all at once at the same time that made life very difficult to navigate. Typically, if you're juggling one issue at a time, it's easy. But I found myself in a place where I had some financial losses, cash flow issues with personnel, uh, parents in a place where in a war zone. So it was multiple issues all at once, which made me feel like my back was against the wall. And that was the moment where I realized that, okay, how do we navigate from here? How do we move forward? It's important. My path has always been being an entrepreneur, being doing my own thing, which is great, amazing. But how do you remain resilient when when you're juggling all of this chaos? And I stepped back a little bit and started writing down all of the things that were happening with me. The magnitude of them was just crazy. It's ridiculous how much we hold sometimes, and we don't know about it until we put it down on paper and realize what we're dealing with. And at that moment, it's like, no, this is bigger than me. Something is bigger. So how do we navigate this journey and be resilient? And how do we equip ourselves with the right tools to get out of survival mode, to get out of the chaos that we're in and persevere? And that's when the idea of writing Resilient in Business came from. So Resilient in Business is a book that's recently published a few months ago, and it shows business owners how to incorporate a personal operating system, how to lead themselves and their business better in order to get out of survival mode and be better equipped to take their business to the next level. Survival mode comes to answer your question. Survival mode is a state that founders can find themselves in due to very different reasons. They could be stressed out all the time about what's happening in their life. They're just juggling way too much. They're overwhelmed. So stress can lead to being in survival. They can have the wrong mindset and the wrong attitude and the wrong approach to things that leads them to take the wrong actions and sabotage their success, which also can put them in keep them in survival. Like, for example, hiring the wrong personnel all the time, not knowing how to micromanaging, not knowing how to delegate, not knowing how to lead others, undercutting themselves, like charging the clients less than what they're supposed to be. There's different issues that are around mindset and self-sabotage that founders subconsciously, they're not aware, but they're doing and don't lead to their success. So those things can lead to them being in survival. Another example is when they don't really know where they're going and how they're going there. They don't have a plan that's helping them work towards it. So they're just kind of reacting to whatever comes. So that's not good. That doesn't help move you forward. The fourth thing is not knowing how to manage your energy, not knowing how to manage your time, like being everywhere, scattered, not focusing on what will actually drive your business forward. That also is not good. Not having the right support system in place, not having the right support back in your office as an operational support or network support, connected to the right people that will help your business move forward as well. So there's a bunch of things that founders can be doing wrong, which will lead to them being in survival mode, and obviously it's not good.
Yeah, no, thank you for that because, you know, some of the things that you said I can connect to in the education world as well. And I think you probably connect that to other industries and all. But when people get stuck in stressful situations, they don't have full access to all the tools, the mental, personal tools
Yeah.
that they should have because they're in the emotion of stress. So therefore, their brain isn't operating quite the way it should, and they become reactive and all those things. So there's, in the work I do, I talk a lot about, the mindset, right? We work on that. But the other piece of that, and I think this is going to lead into my next question for you, is I also talk about applying heat to your life. And that is really the importance of having habit, emotion, attitude training, right? It's so important to have certain habits in your life that should become rituals that enable you to kind of get yourself emotionally out of the stress so that you can then function better, more optimally, even though those things outside of you are really impacting you.
Right.
My question is that kind of what your because you mentioned something about the personal operating, everybody should have a personal operating system. It seems like that might be what I was just kind of talking about. Can you want to describe that and kind of
Correct. Absolutely. Exactly. What you mentioned right now is very important. So what happens in the small business world, you have the owner is the sole person that's responsible for everything. He's the owner's internal state reflects the business results. Why? Because he's the person that's directing the ship. He's the person that's taking the decisions. He's the person that's directing people to take the actions that they're supposed to take. So the owner's thoughts, the owner's beliefs, the owner's mindset, the owner's energy, the owner's presence, it's all ripples on everything around him and eventually on the results of the business. So people think that, oh, our problem is we don't have the right strategy in our business, or we're not doing the right marketing, or they have to keep jumping from one tactic to the next. But in many cases, that's not the case. In many cases, the problem is that the owner is not equipped with the right practices, as you mentioned, with the right tools to lead themselves first before leading the business, to lead themselves and in extension, leading the business to see the results that they hope to see. And that's what the personal operating system is. So right now, as it is, we all have a personal operating system. It's the set of practices that we do on a daily basis to lead ourselves and our businesses. However, the question becomes whether this personal operating system, the way that you think, the way your mindset, your beliefs, the way that you manage yourself, your energy, your support network, etc. Whether those things are optimized in order to help you be successful or not is another question. And this is the idea behind business optimization, behind resilient in business, to show the founders what are the practices that you must have in your personal operating system so that you are successful, so that you can get out of being in survival mode and you're equipped with the right tools to direct your business to the in the right direction. Because again, before managing others, it's important to manage ourselves first to get the results that we want.
I 100% agree with that. It's, whether I'm working with athletes or entrepreneurs or whoever, it's, I work on some of those beliefs and all that can help or influence that glass ceiling they might put it over their head or might influence their inability to get unstuck. But then it's kind of what you just alluded to, is that operating system that you got to have on a regular basis to manage all that. And that, I don't know that business schools, colleges, high schools, even at any level, that we fully understand the importance, whether you're an entrepreneur or whether you're going to be ending up going in the corporate world or whatever you end up doing in life, that so much of the challenges we have are going to be related to all those beliefs and everything that make up our mindset and our own, as you'd say, your term is that personal operating system. We're taught all kinds of systems to manage our finances or manage the marketing or manage this, but nothing really on how to manage our emotionality and all of that. And it seems like that's probably why you and I have our own little niche here, right? To present that to
Yeah.
people, because it's not really kind of getting hot.
Yeah.
Can
So,
you?
so
Yeah.
yeah.
No, just go ahead.
No, I'm just saying that you're absolutely right. In school, I mean, they teach you the technical aspect of it, but no one teaches you what it's like to be a business owner. You know, the things that you have to deal with, how to manage and run a business. Like it's not taught in business school.
So what are some of your go-tos personally when the things that you try to do every day that just help you deal with the chaos
Yeah.
that is life?
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, the personal operating system is composed of I have a framework called roots, basically. So it starts with R, regulate, which what you mentioned, it's important to manage your stress first. So you can't be, you're the business owner, you're in charge for everything. You can't be walking around being reactive, being stressed out, uh, because what happens then, as you also said, is it affects your perspective. I mean, your brain is not functioning as it should. Your perspective is narrowing. So now you're not taking the right decisions. You know, someone says something, you feel charged. You want to fire back at them and say something else, which you will regret later. So it's important to understand that how to manage your emotions and how to manage your stress. So you can regulate your nervous system, calm down, pause, and then respond accordingly. So that's the first part, regulating your nervous system are. Then the second practice is observe, which is observing all of the mental loops that are not helping you, all of the narratives that are running the daily show in the background subconsciously. So sometimes we say we want to be successful, we say we want something, but our actions are not getting us there. For example, uh, they say they have a goal, but you procrastinate. You don't make the right calls in order to move things forward because on some level you're scared of whatever, of success maybe, of failure, of whatever it is. You don't promote your business as you should because you have fears of, being seen or whatever. So business owners in many cases sabotage their success. They undercharge. They juggle too much. They want to people please. They want to please their clients, so they do way more than they should do. So all of those are issues that sometimes we do as founders, and we don't realize that they're not helping us reach to the goal that we want. They're not helping us build a more successful business. So this is observe, understanding what are those self-sabotaging loops and how do we get out of them. That's the other story. So that's observe. The third part is own. Own is being true to yourself and to your identity, anchoring in your self-authority. And that becomes very important in difficult when you're going through difficult times. It's like, what's your purpose? Like, why are you doing this to begin with? What are you doing this for? Being clear on those is very essential, because that stays in your mind when you're having a tough time, tough day, tough period, whatever. It helps you power through and move through it. Having a clear vision and setting goals and building momentum towards those goals. So this is being true to yourself. The fourth part is, we said regulate, observe, own. The fourth is 10, knowing how to manage your energy. How do you manage your time? So what does your week look like? What does your day look like? If you're waiting to figure out what your day looks like in the morning, then it means that you're responding to chaos and you're not in charge of your day and of the outcomes that you're getting. It's important to plan ahead, understand, have a certain rhythm for how you work, and making sure that you're focused on what will actually move your business forward. So we help founders with that as well. So that's 10, making sure, optimizing your energy. Then the fifth part is support, building the right support ecosystem in place. Support means, well, first of all, we as founders are responsible for supporting ourselves, because no one else will come and help us. Like, it's important first to help yourself first. If you can't help yourself, no one will help you. So start with helping yourself. Start with taking care of yourself, and you do that by doing the first part of the framework, which is regulate, observe, own, and tend. This is how you lead yourself. And then after you figured that part out, then you go out and work on the remaining parts of your support ecosystem, which are your relational support. Those are friends, family that help with emotional support. They are there for you. After that, then we look at the business, the operational support. Who do you have back in the office? Are they working in a way that's effective? Is your business systemized properly? Do you have the right processes in place, systems in place, and it's not really relying on you for every input? So making sure that your operations is properly maintained, it's running as a machine, as a well-oiled machine, is very crucial for your resilience and for the business success. So operation support is very important. The last part is strategic support. Strategic support is about building alliances and networks and having the right coaches in place, like a mindset coach, for example, your consultants, making the right partnerships in your industry that are mutually beneficial for you and for the other party, where you have this network that's surrounding you, that's helping support your business. So all of those 5 practices are essential in order to elevate your personal operating system. It's managing stress, managing the self-sabotaging behaviors, owning your identity and your vision and building momentum towards it, tending to your energy, optimizing your energy, and putting the right support systems in place. So those 5 key practices, those form your personal operating system that has to be optimized in order to lead yourself and your business better, in order to get better results in your business.
You said a few things in there, and the more people I interview from all kinds of different walks of life who have become successful in various endeavors that they have, we talk the same language, but we use sometimes some slightly
Different.
different terminology and all. But uh, and those are the kind of lessons that I hope I can pull out and share with people. Like you just talked about identity. That's a very big piece of things I try to talk about and teach, whether it's students, whether it's the athletes, that those labels that we give ourselves, those stories we tell ourselves, um, shape so much of our mindset. They shape the beliefs that we have. They shape our decision making. They shape
Yeah.
the actions we take. They shape how we handle emotions. They shape all of that. And many of those have set glass ceilings on us, and we aren't even aware of them, right? So one of those things is about identifying and learning the seeds of our story. I use the acronym. I want people to become sowers of possibility. That's SOWER, sower of possibility. And that first part is identifying those seeds of your story, that those labels you've given ourselves, because they influence so much, and they can. You had said something else that made me think about clutter. And we know psychologically we don't do well when things are cluttered. And oftentimes we think of clutter as physical space, right? But our minds can be cluttered, and clutter in our minds create a lot of stress. So a lot of what you said there about, you know, those different steps, operating systems, and all that are are so important. And a lot of entrepreneurs get into it because they either had an idea that they just really think's a great idea, they want to get out there, or they are a tradesperson. Like oftentimes contractors were good. They like carpentry or plumbing or electrical work or whatever it is, and then they decide, oh, I could do this better, but they come from a different skill set, and they aren't always prepared for the different business aspects that they now have to be on, and that can lead to stress and all those things. Um, my next question for you is, with all this stuff that we that comes with being an entrepreneur, um, what emotion do you feel has been one that can really, either from personal experience, you or observation, can be one of the hardest ones that can really kind of trip up entrepreneurs or really um, get get to them? Is there one in particular you think that?
Yeah, stress in general is a problem, and especially since sometimes it's very common that people think that it's part of business. It's part of, like, this is how work should be, kind of thing, you know. So they especially when they're seeing it day in and day out, so it becomes the norm. So it's like they expect to be in a stressful situation all of the time, and when you don't deal with that, you're not aware of how much it's costing you. Like I had that from personal experience. In one project, I had a business partner, and that business partner is not really coping with stress as they should. They're not. Some people, the way that you cope with this is very important. You know, some people know how to manage stress, and some people don't. You know, they go to different, whatever, substances, addictions, whatever it is, and this can be very. It's not helpful. It's terrible, because you find yourself in a, especially when stress is present for a prolonged period of time, your judgment weakens in a terrible way. So now you're looking for quick fixes, ways out. You lose perspective on what's really important and on the long-term objective here. So you want quick solutions. You want quick fixes, which lead to taking the wrong decisions, which is very detrimental to the results that you get.
You know, it seems that now as an entrepreneur myself, and even when I work with athletes, when I work with people in general, it seems like the one emotion that can be the bane of people reaching their full potential is fear. Now,
Yeah.
it seems like entrepreneurs, though, the successful ones, have somehow, I don't want to use the word mastered it, but their reaction to fear seems to be different. Like they don't let it prevent them from making the tough decisions. They don't let it prevent them from taking those risks, which entrepreneurship is by nature very risky.
Yes.
What, in your experience, is it that helps those successful entrepreneurs, yourself, whoever, to address fear so it doesn't become, you know, make it hard to make decisions? Fear is a killer of decision making.
True, exactly. So, and it's interesting because for entrepreneurs, I mean, there's two types of fears: fears of being successful and fear of failure as well. For us, we fear of success is I feel is more a problem than fear of failure. You know,
Yeah.
because they're in it. They're not really afraid when you're in the arena. You have some courage to be there. It's this journey is entrepreneurs are an interesting type of people that are different than the other population. They're courageous to be doing what they're doing, and they have some sort of self-belief in themselves to be doing it. But what caps their success is being afraid of success, uh, because back to what you mentioned earlier about identity, which is very important. People see themselves in a certain way, and sometimes they don't see themselves in that very successful place that they want to be in. You know, Uh, how you see yourself is how you behave, how you carry yourself, and in extension, how people interact with you, how people experience you. And that's your identity kind of thing. But if the identity is capped at a certain place and it's not expanded to where they'd like to be, because success is this level of success is new. It's not. It becomes to the brain. It's threatening. So it's not used to the brain is not used to the high level of success yet. So that's where sabotage comes into place. So yeah, so if, entrepreneurs have to answer your question, fear of success is a big problem for them. I
Yeah.
forgot your question, but that's
Yeah, no, that you answered it. And you know, we haven't yet really talked about burnout, but that's kind of behind some of these, the stress, the emotion when you get caught up in all that. And some of that, the imagery of these highly driven entrepreneurs of like that's all they do, right? Like they are just so driven. How do you how do we talk about balance there with some of these people who also, when they are that driven and they are the one in charge, being able to trust other people to give them some, decision making authority and some of those kind of things that can play in.
yeah. I know I mean, us humans, as you know, I mean, you're seeing it every day in the mindset work that you're doing. We're very complicated people, man. Our problems are diverse,
I
and
guess
everyone
so.
has their own set of challenges to work through and overcome. Um, so yeah, I mean, What was the question?
Yeah, I was just wondering about that, you know, how we help or empower some of the entrepreneurs who are just so
Driven, yes.
driven that that's like their
I know.
yeah.
It's yeah, for that, I mean, there's another thing that comes into place. Sometimes we're addicted to chaos. You're right, they're driven, but at the same time, this is it. It all ties together. They're sabotaging themselves. They're being addicted to chaos. They're micromanaging. They don't want to let go. They want to be perfectionist. They say they think it's perfectionism, but it's actually slowing them down. So those are all of the issues that are kind of connected together. Uh, that are a problem. The solution for this is stepping back a little bit and taking a deep breath and understanding what's actually happening behind the surface. What's having self-awareness. The answer to all of this is having self-awareness, understanding yourself better. Like you cannot expect to thrive in business or in whatever if you do not understand yourself, if you don't not have this if you don't know what's happening with you, what's going on with you. So in order to lead the team better, in order to lead people, in order to grow and scale, it's all about you. It's all starts and ends with you. Understand yourself better, understand what's uh, what's triggering you, where are your actions not actually serving you, understanding working with someone like yourself or us in order to work through all of those things, dismantle them, and actually trust is very critical. This is what, as you said, this is what caps a revenue ceiling or actually breaks it. Like many revenue ceilings are not because the marketing is weak. It's because you don't trust people, you don't trust yourself, I guess. It's all tied together. So to answer your question, it's understand what's happening with you, understand yourself, and then from there start developing the habits and the actions that will get you out of those negative loops.
I think it was either Socrates or Aristotle who had said the beginning of wisdom is to know thyself, right?
Yeah.
So that is always in the work I do is where I try to start is help people try to really understand what's going on, you know, from their own
Yes.
identity, their own beliefs, all those kinds of things that are working in there in the background that are going to influence their ability to make decisions, to be resilient, to deal with emotions, all of those sort of things. Um,
Oh.
we're coming near the end of our time. Your book is available on Amazon, I'm assuming, and you want to kind of give a little one last plug for who you wrote it for and where people could get it.
Resilient in business. It's resonating with everyone that's reading it. I'm surprised by the reaction of people because it talks about the entrepreneurial journey, it talks about the struggle, and it talks about how do we get out of this struggle. And the way to get out of this struggle is not by looking on the whatever is happening on the external environment, because sometimes you cannot control everything. The beginning is, as Socrates said, as Aristotle said, you are the beginning of everything. So look at yourself, look at how you internally operate, how you lead yourself and your business. This is the key in order um, to build something meaningful, in order to build a resilient business. So the resilient business provides a framework for entrepreneurs to lead themselves and their businesses better. It's available absolutely on Amazon. And if people like to learn more, they can reach out and connect personally on LinkedIn.
Well, thank you for sharing all that, and I will put the link in the description for the show, so people will be able to find that and find you as well. Appreciate you taking the time out and sharing your experiences and wisdom with our audience.
Thank you, Chuck. Thank you. I mean, a lot of what we're doing is connected, me and you, and I appreciate this opportunity.
Thank you again, and it was a pleasure meeting you and having this conversation.
Thanks, Chuck. Thanks.
Again, you know, the guests that I have, we always keep saying the same thing in different ways from different experiences, but everything we really can accomplish is so much related to those labels and the beliefs that we have and the experiences that we've had, and all of that is really what's behind that mindset and why I'm really, really excited about offering this mentorship that my son Billy and I have started out, because from all my, not just my book knowledge, right, and all those letters I could put after my name, but it's the 30 years of experience that I've had working with teenagers primarily, but who really struggle in a lot of different ways. And it's those experiences that have enabled us to kind of frame a structured program, mentorship, to really help families, so that teenagers and their families learn how to deal with the storms of life. If I would encourage any of you who might be thinking that this would be just what your teenager needs, particularly as they prepare for life beyond high school, then I would encourage you to go to the Champions Mindset Mentorship.com. That's the Champions Mindset Mentorship.com, and check out that more information and schedule a call with us. Until the next time, as always, I encourage you to go out and live life to its fullest.